In an effort to get you quickly editing files early on in the course, I just showed you the I command to enter insert mode. Well, as you might have already figured out on your own, there is more than one way to enter insert mode. It shouldn't surprise you really. We've seen this time and time again with Vim, where there is more than just one way to do the same thing and where there are multiple commands that do something very similar to each other. As usual, I'm going to use a file here so I can demonstrate some of these other ways to get into insert mode. First, I'm going to open up a terminal on my system and navigate to where I extracted the contents of the course download archive. And for me, that's in the downloads folder, in the Vim class folder. And now I'm going to open the file called inserting.txt. Let's say you want to make the second line in this file just like the first line. One way to do this is to move your cursor to the second line and position it where there is some missing text just in front of the word is. So I'll press J and I can press W to move over a couple of words here. And now you can press I to enter insert mode and type the word lines followed by a space, and then press escape to get to normal mode, and then move over again to the next place, hit I to go into insert mode, type the word not, press escape again to get back to normal mode. Now this is pretty much the method you already know. So now let's move down to the line that begins with my. I'll just do that by pressing J 3 times here. Or if you're going for efficiency, you could have just used 3J. Now, to make this line look like the one above it, you have a few choices. If you were to use the method you already know, you would have to position the cursor at the beginning of the line and then enter insert mode. To position the cursor at the beginning of this line, you could use 0 or the caret symbol, which is Shift 6 on my keyboard. Both are the same because this line starts with a non-blank character, but remember that the caret symbol moves to the first non-blank character of the line. From there, you can just enter insert mode with I. However, there is a single command that does both of those things. It's capital I or Shift I. So when you type Shift I, which I'll do right now, Shift I, the cursor jumps to the first non-blank character in the line and you're placed into insert mode. This is the same thing as pressing caret I. So the lowercase I command lets you insert text before your current cursor position, and capital I lets you insert text before the first non-blank character on the line you're on. To make this line just like the one above it, you can just type capital H, ELLO, comma, space, and then press escape to return to normal mode. Now let's move down to the line that begins with OCE, and I can do that with 3J, and then press 0 to go to the beginning of the line. Now let's say you want OCE to read once, ONCE. You can move the cursor over a character and use the I command to enter insert mode, or you can simply press the A command from your current cursor position. And we'll do that now. We'll press A, and what happens is that the A command appends text after the current cursor position. So to fix this mistake, we just type A like we did, hit N. To fix our mistake, press escape to return to normal mode, and we're all set. Again, let's jump to the bottom line of the next pair using 3J. Now this line is missing the last word in the sentence. So you can use the capital A command, which appends to the end of the line. So you can easily make this line match the one above it by first pressing Shift A and then typing space DAY, pressing period, then pressing escape to return back to normal mode. So again, capital A is append to the end of the line. Now let's move down to the next non-blank line here. We can just move down with J and J again. And this line reads, what is 2 plus 2? Answer on the line below. To do this, use the O command, lowercase o. It begins a new line below the cursor and places you in insert mode. So to answer this question on the line below, you would type O, press 4, and then press escape to return back to normal mode. Now let's do this again. Let's move to the next non-blank line here with 2J. And let's say you want to create a line above the current line and immediately start inserting text on that line. Well, to do that, you would use capital O or Shift O. So to answer this question on the line above, I'm going to type Shift O, which starts a new line above the current cursor position. I'm in insert mode, so I can just type 4 to insert the text, press escape, and now we're back to normal mode. Next, let's move down a few more spaces here. I'm going to position my cursor below this line that says create a line of asterisks, and I'm going to hit Z and enter to just move the text up our screen. You already know how you can make a command repeat as many times as you want it to by preceding that command with a number, which is called a count. This also works with the insert command. It may not be obvious at first, but it's pretty cool. So if you want to create a line that contains 80 asterisks, then you just type 80I, and now you're in insert mode. Make your edit, which is simply pressing Shift-8 to enter an asterisk. And now when you press escape, that command is repeated 80 times and you're left with a line of 80 asterisks right there in your editor. Okay, now let's move down to the next line. I'll just hit J. And let's say you want to create 5 new lines that begin with the pound sign, or as some people call it, a number sign or a hash. Think about how you would create one new line below your current cursor position. That's right, you can use the O command to do that. Now, if you were to run O pound escape, you would have a new line that contained the pound sign. Let's do that 5 times by typing 5, O. Now you're placed in insert mode. Hit the pound sign here and then press escape. This might be a quick way to create a comment section in a configuration file, shell script, or other program. By the way, you can repeat these commands with more than just one character. For example, let's say you want to create a list of IP addresses and they all start with 10.11.12. Well, to create 4 lines that start like that, we can just go down here and type 4 O 10.11.12 dot and press escape. And now you can quickly go back and fill in the last section of each IP address because you created 4 lines really quickly that started out the same way. There is a very similar mode to insert mode in Vim, and it's called replace mode. Some would actually argue that it's just really another form of insert mode. In any case, when you enter replace mode, each character you type replaces an existing character. Let's try this with a line that reads replace me. So first we'll position our cursor where you want to start the replace. And so we'll go down here, and then I'm going to press 0 to jump to the beginning of the line. And then now what we can do is type capital R or Shift R. You'll see replace appear on the status line at the bottom of your screen, indicating that you're in replace mode. Now, whatever you type will overwrite the existing text. So let's try. I love using Vim! Exclamation mark. And then when we're done, we can press escape. And now we're returned to normal mode. In this example, we typed over the characters and even beyond the original end of the line. So in replace mode, one character in the line is deleted for every character you type. If there is no character to delete, like at the end of the line, then that typed character is appended to the line. It's actually pretty intuitive. Once you use this once or twice, you'll really understand how that works. So let's use replace mode to change the word dog to cat in the next line. So I'll just go down a couple here and then go back a couple of words by using B. And now we can type Shift R, capital R, and then CAT and press escape, and we're back into normal mode, and we replaced dog with cat. If you just want to replace one character, use lowercase r. So in the next sentence, let's change bat to cat. So we'll position our cursor under the B, just move down here and go back to the beginning of the word, type lowercase r, followed by C, and the B is replaced with C. Now notice how we didn't have to hit escape to go back to normal mode. Lowercase r only lets you replace one character. So you just hit that one character and then you're automatically placed back into normal mode. Okay, let's move down to the next line that has some text here. And let's say you want to replace the word canine with the word dog. You could use the replace mode, but after you replace the first 3 characters, you would have to delete the remaining characters in the word since it's longer than the word you want to replace it with. This is where the C or change command is useful. The format of the C command is an optional register followed by C followed by a motion. So to change a word, we could type CW. So let's do that here with canine. Again, position the cursor right at the beginning of the word canine, type C for change, W for word motion. Now we're into insert mode, and now we can just type cat, C-A-T, press escape, and that word was changed from canine to cat. Pretty easy. What essentially happens is the word is deleted and you're placed into insert mode. So whatever you type replaces the motion you specified. It doesn't have to be equal either. So let's move down to the next line, go B to go back to the beginning of this word. And this time, let's change canine to black cat. Again, you can use CW and then type your replacement text. So we'll do CW to change the word canine. We're going to type black cat and press escape. So you can quickly change a single word into multiple words or multiple lines or whatever replacement text that you want when you're using this C motion command. All right, let's do this one more time. Let's change canine to cat. And this time what we want to do is save it into the A named register. So we'll position our cursor at the beginning of canine. I'll just hit B to go back here. And then we'll type double quote A, CW, type cat, and then hit escape. Now we can look at the registers with the register command. We'll type REG space A and press enter. And you'll see that the text that we replaced is now in the A register, the word canine. You already know how to use registers, but I just wanted to give you a little reminder using this new command that you were just introduced to. Let's move down a couple of lines here, and I'm just going to shift this text to the top of our screen here with Z and enter so we can see what we're doing. Let's say you want to replace all the text on the line starting at the word car. So to do this, just position your cursor at car, and I'll just do this with W. I'll W over to car, and then we can type C $. Now remember that the $ motion takes you to the end of the line, so C $ means replace from your current cursor position all the way through the end of the line. And now we can just type mouse, for example, a period, and press escape. You might have noticed that the C command is really behaving a lot like the D command you learned in an earlier lesson. Remember how the D $ command deletes the characters from under the cursor until the end of the line? And do you remember the one letter command that does the exact same thing? Yep, that's Shift D or capital D. So if C $ changes text to the end of the line, well, what one letter command do you think does the same thing? I hope you guessed capital C. So let's place our cursor under car in the next line and use capital C. So we'll go down here. I'll just hit B to go back to car, Shift C for capital C. It's going to let us replace the entire line. Really, it deletes the line from our current cursor position all the way to the end, places us in insert mode, and allows us to type our text, which we're going to do with mouse, period, and press escape to return to normal mode. Another handy command to know is CC, which allows you to change an entire line of text. So let's move down to the next line with J and J, type CC, and then we'll just type the replacement text. So we'll type the cat, chased, the mouse, period, escape, and we're back into normal mode. Now, just like the C command, you can optionally use a register to store the text that you replaced. You can also use an optional count with the command. So if you wanted to change 3 lines, then just use 3cc, for example. The next line begins with a lowercase letter. If you wanted to change that lowercase t to an uppercase T, you have a few options. One possibility would be to use the lowercase r command followed by uppercase T to make that single character replacement. However, the tilde command switches the case of the character under the cursor, so position your cursor under the lowercase t and type tilde. So we'll move down with 2 J's here to the beginning of the line with 0, and then now we'll just type tilde and the lowercase t gets changed to uppercase T. Let's change the case of the first word on the next line. So we position our cursor on the next line at the beginning, and we could type tilde multiple times and that would get the job done. However, you can use G tilde motion. So to change the case of a word, we can use G tilde W, and that entire motion is changed to uppercase, or it swaps the case. Now let's switch the case of the entire next line. So we'll move down here, and then what we can do is G tilde $, which does what we want. You can also use G tilde tilde, which also does the same thing as G tilde $. Can you see the pattern here? 2 of the same command operate on an entire line. So you've seen this with DD, YY, CC, and now with G tilde tilde. The more you use Vim and the more you start thinking in Vim, the easier this all becomes. All of these little patterns start to accumulate, and before long, you're going to know lots and lots of Vim commands because of all these neat little connections that you're making. While we're working with case, let's go ahead and change the word upper on the next line to be uppercase. And you'll notice that the E is already in uppercase. So if we were to use the switch case command, the tilde, on that entire word, we would end up with everything in uppercase letters except for that E. Luckily, there's a command to force all uppercase letters, and that is G capital U followed by a motion. So let's position your cursor under the U. We'll do J, J. We'll go forward a word with W. And now we can type G, Shift U for uppercase U, and then W. That makes all the letters in that motion uppercase, no matter what case they were before. Now let's move down to the next line here with J a couple of times, and let's make this entire line uppercase. The command G, U, U, both uppercase U's, will do just that, G, U, U. Okay, like there is an uppercase command, there is also a lowercase command. So let's move to the next line and change the word lower to all lowercase. And it already contains a letter that is in lowercase, so using the tilde command to switch the case will not give you what you're looking for. So the command to do this is GU motion. And notice how this is a lowercase u. So we'll use GUW for word motion, and that moves everything to lowercase for that motion. Okay, let's move to the next line and make it all lowercase. It should come to you as no surprise that the command GUU will do just that. So far, we've talked about more ways to enter insert mode. We looked at a few different ways to perform replacements, and just now we finished with making case changes within our text. Finally, I want to share with you just one more command in this lesson. That command is the capital J command, which joins lines together. So let's combine the next pair of lines on our screen. First, I'm just going to position my cursor down there and hit Z and enter to move that text into view on our screen. Now what we want to do is combine these two lines so it reads "the cat chased the mouse" all on one line. So now with our cursor anywhere on this first line, we can hit Shift J, which is the capital J command. And you'll notice that a space was appended to the end of the current line, and the line below it was moved to the end of this line. So the uppercase J command tries to be smart about how it includes spaces at the end of the line. If there's already a space at the end of the line, it will not add an additional space, for example. Also, if the line ends with a period, then the uppercase J command will append two spaces to the end of the line before it appends the line below it. Okay, let's look at this in action by joining the next two lines together. So I'll just move down a couple of lines here, press Shift J. Now I can press L to show you that there are indeed two spaces. So I'm under a space. If I go H, I'm also under space. So there are two spaces appended after the period because that's how the uppercase J works, and it tries to be smart for you. Okay, let's move down to the next pair of lines, and let's say we want to join these two lines, but we don't want them adding additional spaces for us. To do that, we can use the G capital J command. So we'll run G Shift J, and you'll notice that there are no spaces after the period. If you had just used the capital J command, two spaces would have come after the period, and then you would have not gotten the desired result. Again, like most commands in Vim, you can make it repeat by providing a count. So let's go down here to these three lines and let's join them all together by typing 3 Shift J, and those three lines are all joined together.